people aren't writers at all, but deadly criminals that we have put into a ring of combat. For your pleasure, I will now introduce these dastardly people. First, we have Libba Bray. Let's face it, let's hear a little bit about her past. So, she was a chorus girl. You know what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm laying down. And all she wanted was the lead role, until suddenly she, the lead, and the rest of the entire chorus line, because why take chances, were poisoned in a mysterious accident. And suddenly, on Broadway for 3 years, the old Libba, all the time, everyone enjoyed it, but it was wrong. Thank you, that chair almost went a couple times. Here is Leigh, also known as the Darkling. Right. She once destroyed a whole town. I don't know why, nobody really does. People come and they watch the abyss. It used to be a town, and they think to themselves, there should be a gift shop here. A murder gift shop. Now, we have Margaret, Stohl, and Garcia, who I requested. I very specifically asked they not be put sitting together because they teamed up to kill someone, a close relative of one of theirs. Beautiful creatures, heavenly creatures, we all know how this goes. Their kind is narrowly discovered, and I would describe them as a pack of conspirators. A pack of 2. And we're all very insane while they're together.
You should run now.
I don't really know why we're even here. Okay, don't burn anything, kids. And then at the end, we have Bray Carson. I don't really know. She's a murderer? Like, you meet her and she seems really sweet and you think to yourself, I really like her and we're gonna hang out. And then maybe you read her book and maybe you get attached to some characters and maybe they all die! Pain isn't fresh or anything. No, I'm feeling great. Everything's awesome. Now, I'm gonna need your help, guys. Because you see, obviously, these people have to entertain you. That's why they're here. And so, after everybody gives their responses, I want you to clap. But only clap if you're really feeling it. Don't lie to me. No. No. Because you see, the person who gets the least claps, and I'll be measuring it, I will take out back and count. Do it. Now we're doing this again, so it's possible that I will spare their lives till the afternoon. What if I get a cool person to fill in? Maybe I won't. They just don't know. Their lives are hanging in the balance here. So be honest, no pity claps. Only claps for the awesome.
Pity claps are great.
No.
We are all in favor of pity claps. Just let's be really clear.
Watch her die.
Okay, I am a murderer, and that is the best you can do. You know what's at stake here.
I'd also like to say a special thank you to Libba Bray because since she started off by swearing, I think that we can have some murder on this actual panel. I mean, like, I'm not going to bring it up to an R. I'm going to do some PG-13 sort of Hunger Games blurry murder for your delectation. Now, I've got 3 rounds of questions, and then you guys are going to come up with questions. Come up with good ones. Someone's life hangs in the balance. Not your guys, though. You're all awesome. I'll protect you. Maybe. So, my first round of questioning. For Libba, the devil dancer Bray first, and then we go on. Let's just talk about settings. Now, someone very wise, so I'm thinking probably Taylor Swift, said, the past is another country. They do things differently there. So would you like to talk about writing a book set in the 1920s, which, by the way, the Diviners is?
Yes, but first I'd like to say that you're my favorite, Sarah. I love you above all others. You wouldn't want to kill someone who loves you above all others, would you?
Well played.
Thanks. In addition to all my other skills, I'm also mean. Yes, so setting, 1920s. I knew that I wanted to write a series set in the 1920s because it was such a fascinating time in American history.
And I think what's so great about it is that it almost feels like a movie set, the 1920s, because the slang is great. I mean, you have things like, somebody says cash or check, which means kiss now or kiss later. You know, a drugstore cowboy is a guy who's loitering around. There's just great language. And there was so much going on. You know, there's the fashion, there's the flappers, there's the language, there's the prohibition. You know, people making bathtub gin, there's bootlegging. Organized crime really takes off at this time. How's that working out for you, temperance movement? Good job. And, but there's also so much going on politically at this time. You know, I talked a little bit about the sort of xenophobia and racism that was going on in America at this time, and a lot of anti-immigration legislation. There were a lot of pushback against the labor movement. There were fears of anarchism, which was there was a lot of crackdown. There's this whole youth culture. That's really when it starts. Everybody starts looking to the young for how to be. And so all of that was really, really fascinating to me. And I wanted to make sure that I researched as much of that as possible. So I went to the New York Public Libraries. Yay, libraries. When the going gets tough, the tough get a librarian. I went to the Paley Center for Media in New York, which is where you can go and listen to old radio broadcasts and the real deal. I heard Calvin Coolidge giving a speech. I went to the New York Historical Society. I met with some historians and went walking around. And that was just so that I could get as many of those details as possible, because I think that when people think about research, they think, oh man, this is going to be tedious and awful. And really it liberates you, because it shows you all of those things that you don't know. You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this was, you know, that when a raid happened, they would get rid of the liquor by, there was a private chute, and they could turn it, and the liquor would fall down behind the wall. And it's like, oh, no, we don't have any liquor. And so when you hear stuff like that, you're like, dude, I gotta use that. I'm gonna use that. So, so I'm not sure if I'm answering your question correctly. All I'm saying is, you know, that to create setting, I had to do just a ton of research, and it was really, really fun.
That is totally pity clapping.
Margaret, my eyes on you. So now we have Leigh, the Darkling Bardugo, talking about how she was like, you know what, how Fantasyland would be cool if it was secretly Russia.
Hello. Yeah, I'm kind of willing to die in service of this panel, but I do want a candlelight vigil, and I would like quality music to be played.
Totally have a song that you'd like to request now.
I would prefer Gangnam Style as kind of like with choreography. So yeah, my book is actually set in a world inspired by Tsarist Russia. It is not Russia. And the reason I chose to use that as an inspiration, there were kind of two reasons. One was that I love fantasy, but a lot of it is set in medieval Europe or medieval England. And as much as I love broadswords and flagons of ale do, I wanted to go someplace a little bit different. And I guess the reason that ended up, the point of departure ended up being Russia was because I kind of grew up fascinated with this country. I don't know if you guys are still into this, but when I was a kid, Anastasia and the Story of the Last Tsar, okay, that's something that even if you don't know anything about Russia, you know that story, right?
Do you mean the cartoon?
That's exactly what I mean. Meg Ryan. She's such a scamp. And also I think that even as outsiders, we have these very disparate images